Here's the question. How do I become a full-time filmmaker?
I always assumed that to be a filmmaker you had to move to California, you had to live in Los Angeles, and that it was just a job that was almost unattainable, and that filmmaking for anyone that didn't live there was nothing more than a hobby.
Going into filmmaking seemed like a pipe dream. That's the kind of thing that only happens to a rare few.
Even up through high school, I really had naive ideas about being a filmmaker, and movie studios just, here's millions of dollars, make a movie. And that was not true at all.
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with making my own videos. Luckily, I came along at a time where camcorders had become a thing. Like, I could make short films with my friends. But it wasn't until I got a little older, maybe into high school, when I started to play around and start to see maybe I had an eye for this. And then especially once I got into college, which is where I met Brad. And right after college, we were like, what do we do now? So I was working at the college bookstore still, and Brad had moved back home to live with his parents, and we were both just like, why don't we try to do our own thing? Luckily, right when we graduated, the college that we attended hired us to make a commercial. So that was really like our first gig, our first client. But from there, we just kept going. We were like, let's just keep this momentum, keep getting new clients. And most of it has been word of mouth. It's not from us doing a ton of promoting, but it's from people we've worked with being really happy with the final product.
But all that being said, me and Luke decided to make movies together, and really we ultimately found out you don't have to move to Hollywood. You don't even have to move to Atlanta. We can be in a way smaller town and make our own movies by being independent filmmakers. And the trade-off to a degree is you might not have the biggest budgets, but you get to have more creativity. You get to make what you want to make. And that was a big thing when we founded Sosa Bear Films. We knew we were going to do client videos, do promotional videos, and it's been fun doing a lot of that stuff. But another aspect of the company was we're filmmakers. We should be making movies of our own. And we've been doing that ever since we started in 2016.
For us, there's something inside us that's like, we want to keep making content. We want to keep making short films, narrative films, things aside from just the client work. So sometimes you have to find that balance. You have to make the time for the creative content, because the creative stuff might not be paying the bills yet, but if you ever want to get to that place where it is paying the bills, then you have to make the time in between the client work to churn out some of that creative content.
When I was in school, we had a professor, and he basically explained it to us this way for managing your work versus what you want to do for fun. It's 2 for the meal, 1 for the reel. So you always do double the amount of work for your client projects, and then that gives you time basically and money to work on the stuff that you're passionate about. And that can slowly expand, because over time your creative work as it grows can lead to income. But if you want to maintain a healthy balance and you don't fall into the starving artist cliche, then what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're making money, you're making your clients happy, and you're putting your all into those projects so that you can put your all into the stuff that you really care about.
So a really cool thing in a world that we didn't really get to explore much in college was film festivals. Our first movie, The Apology Service, we submitted to 25 film festivals. And we were thinking we did this amazing movie and we're super proud of it. But when you submit it to Tribeca and South by Southwest and Sundance, and you think you're going to make it in just because you finished your first short film, it didn't happen. So the first short film festival we got into, and the only one out of that 25 festivals we submitted the apology service to, was the Macon Film Festival. And that played a huge part in our company's growth, and especially our growth as filmmakers in the state of Georgia.
That was a big deal. It was a turning point for us. We met a lot of people there, and then the following years, they kept playing our films, but then other festivals started playing our films as well, until eventually we started to build more of a reputation, especially in Georgia and the Southeast.
Film festivals love you submitting to them when you can attend as filmmakers to support it, because that's what people in the audience really love, when they get to talk to the actual actors, directors, anyone involved with that movie. They can meet with them and get to know them. So from there we built off of it, and we really redirected and took a whole new approach to film festivals of starting super local.
Another challenge you might come across when trying to make your own creative content is, how do you come up with the budget to do this? And the answer to that is you don't. Yeah! You try not to spend too much money. Honestly, for us, we make posts online and we ask, does anyone have a location that looks like this, where we could film for like 1 day, 2 days, whatever it is we're looking for, an old prop or a location. We just put it out there, especially if you're building a community and people are starting to understand what it is that you do. They'll be willing probably to let you film there or let you borrow something. So that's a big part of it, is trying to use what you've got. And that also means writing a script that's within your means. That doesn't mean that you have to like stifle your creativity, but it does mean if you have a barn where you live, then you could write some kind of movie that takes place in that barn. Use what is at your disposal and make the best of it.
The end goal is making art, being able to be creative. You know, you gotta do it because you love it. So that's all I gotta say about that.
What's up, guys? You ever wanted to be a YouTuber before? How's my hair?
It looks great.
I'm sweating.